Hi, I'm Khalil Guliwala, host of the BIPOC Manager Podcast, a weekly podcast helping minorities overcome professional barriers and build the careers of their dreams. So, if you've been watching previous episodes, I'm hoping you're in a much better place right now. You know how to introduce yourself, you know how to craft that perfect elevator pitch, and you know how to answer that very pesky question, where are you really from? So, you've done all that. Now you're standing in front of a group of professionals, you're in a networking session. What next? And what I notice is that when it comes to BIPOC professionals, either one where let's say they're grouped together, or one where they're hanging out with other sort of Western individuals, they'll take a very back seat to that conversation. And so, what this episode is going to talk about is talk about sort of the perceptions that BIPOC professionals have about conversations, have about speaking in networking situations. Try to unpack ways and strategies that they can use to speak up a little bit more and build connections. So, what's going on? And what I noticed about BIPOC professionals is that, and this is from I've seen clearly, was there were sort of a group of five of us, and we were all like Indian, Iranian, and this one person came in who was Caucasian, and you notice immediately almost the other members of that conversation kind of took a back seat. Like they were just waiting for this person to kind of say what they wanted to say. It was yes, there was no, like, it was like as if they just gave all of their energy away because someone else was there, and they felt like the spotlight should only be on that person. So part of why this is happening, I think parts of it are cultural. So some cultures were taught not to speak but remain silent, to only speak when spoken to, not to speak unless you have something very important or critical to say. Stuff like, don't open your mouth, some might think you're stupid, which I think plays into kind of BIPOC professionals being silent in moments where they actually should be speaking. The second element again is sort of a lot of ethnic cultures and some civilizations see it as when you're around someone who is your superior, who is your manager, someone is watching over you at work, you should kind of give them all the space to speak, and you're kind of more in sort of a subsidiary capacity. And the third element as well, which is also important, is that not only is sort of a lot of BIPOC cultures kind of telling these people, hey, like you're telling them that you should not be speaking or saying something, but in the West, there's an expectation for everybody to speak up and share their experiences. So not only is it happening where sort of BIPOC professionals are lowering the volume down, but they're lowering the volume down in a situation where they're actually expected to turn the volume up. So that distance between how they're showing up and how they're kind of meant or supposed to show up is so huge. Now, how do you change that? Now, I think one of the first steps is even acknowledging that that's happening. The fact that when someone who is Western comes in as a BIPOC professional, we're kind of taking the back seat. We're taking on observer status. That's the first step is even understanding that's taking place. The second thing is just say something. I mean, really, when someone's speaking, add in, chime in. If someone's just rambling on, they're talking a lot, which can happen no matter what their background is. Just try to interrupt them, but interrupt them in a way that's love and say, "Oh my God, that's so amazing about that point. I was facing the same situation." Like say it in ways that you're not gonna cut someone off, but I mean, if you're just sitting there and you're just listening to someone blabber on and you're bored, I mean, leave that conversation. But my belief is you're looking for tools to be able to empower yourself and enter that conversation with love. Another very important thing you can do is take that spotlight and actually shine it on another professional around you, whether the BIPOC or not. So, example, as someone's speaking, say, "Oh, you're talking about that project. Oh, Sarah over here worked on something very similar. You should definitely pick her brain. She's one of the leading experts in the field." Or you could say, "Oh my God, you should be talking to Krishna over here. Krishna has just launched a healthcare startup. I'm sure whatever he's got to say is super pertinent to you." Krishna, why don't you share your thoughts? What's going on over here is you're not just you're taking a conversation that usually devolves into two sort of managers, or the highest job title talking, and you're expanding it to include as many people into that conversation. You're highlighting achievements that all of you have done. And lastly, if you do find you're in a conversation where people are just brushing you off, whether it's your background or not, and they're kind of just delegating you into a spectator role, leave that conversation. And where do that say, hey, I'm fun time over here, but I'm gonna go meet some other people over here. Is there anybody you recommend I talk to? So what you're doing over there again is that you're not just sort of saying goodbye, but turn in a way where you're saying, "Hey, you're trying to turn into you're kind of pushing the conversation forward." And either what's going to happen is they're going to say, "Hey, you should go talk to that person." They've given you a tool to now introduce yourself to someone else, or they say, "Oh, I don't know anybody," and you end it over there. So to kind of go over this again, when you enter conversations, try to work past that baggage, work past that training that a lot of us have of keeping quiet, of keeping silent, of not talking, of almost seeing it as an interruption of somebody. It's not interruption. You're there, but you've got to speak up. You've got to say something. Occasionally, will you accidentally talk over somebody? It's going to happen. But come a place of love, finish your thought, right? Or you can tell the person, hey, listen, why don't you go ahead and cut you off? But definitely make sure that you are creating a space for yourself in that conversation. And lastly, if you're in a part of a chat or a group and you notice that you're just being kind of put on the side and you're not going to be brought in, leave it, go somewhere else. Because what that's going to start doing for you is going to start training you to say, I have someone who has a perspective, someone has a point of view, and I have a conversation with other people as equals. I am not here to be a spectator. I am not here to be an observer. I am not here to be a backup dancer. I'm someone who's here to contribute and to meet people. So, as long as you're coming to conversation with confidence, knowing that it's okay to speak, but more importantly, people are expecting you to speak. And thirdly, making sure that you're helping other people as well get in the conversation, you're going to be having a lot more fun in networking events. So, I'm Khalil Golivala, host of the BIPOC Manager Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, if these are issues you face yourself, then if you subscribe to this episode, share it, talk about it with people who'd be interested. See you next week.